Okay. Did I turn my shit off? Does that work? Oh, I probably shouldn't be showing this, should I? I don't fucking know. I don't think there was anything important on that page. Oh, alright. Which way's the map? I don't know how well this will work. I'm in a new flat and in a completely new setup. But it should be okay. All right. Hello. You can hear me? Fantastic. I don't know what the background noise is like either. I'll have to figure that out as time goes on. The only reason I'm doing this really is does this work as well? You see that? Yeah, cool. The only reason I'm doing this really is replay codes are going to get deleted, and as I'm catching up with the game and seeing kind of what's happened to it, I want to see how teams fight, you know, and I want to see if I can start building the terminologies that I used to have for 6v6, because in 6v6 I kind of felt like the game was pretty much solved. I could figured out how to describe like every interaction. 5v5's a lot harder for that because there's so much in terms of what I've watched that just seems to be like 50-50s, you know, like teams. The ingredients that teams are gathering together before they engage seem so small, and in some cases they're just not there whatsoever. Like, it's like take Sim TP for example, and there's a few examples of this in the King's Row, which we'll look at in a minute. Like, Sim TP could be used in quite an intelligent way. Like, I've seen a fight, and they deleted the replay code for it, unfortunately. But I've seen a fight on this map where red team is playing down here with the Sim TP. Blue team comes this way, and blue team, because of the comp matchup, needs to stage some sort of dive. I think it was a Mauga team versus a Sigma team, right? So Mauga needs to find a way to engage onto the Sig. So Mauga comes this way with 2 players, and they send another 2 players kind of around here. And they do this in order to stage on the Sig team. Now the Sig team also has a teleport, and the second that this unit over here reaches like this point, and they get scouted, and then the distance between these 2 units is so great that like blue team is basically committed to their positions. We see a Sim TP across point, suddenly red team's all the way over here, and they catch a couple of these players. Like, Sim TP can be used really intelligently in those ways, but like watching these guys play it, ostensibly like the 2 top teams, right? Like Korea is supposedly the best region, and these are the grand finals. The way that they are using it just seems to be like, yes, you are TPing somewhere where you got LOS on the back line, but like, I don't know, it doesn't seem all that good. There's so many of these 50-50 interactions that I really want to see whether these teams are actually playing these comps correctly, or whether it's just like dumping all your cooldowns and trying to hit mechanical shots. Because there must be more to a good team than the ability to just trade out on kills. Trading out on kills in 5v5 is like, you know, probably the most important skill. But we want to find something better than that, right? I don't know how much I care about fights like these, so because you can imagine, like, red team, they're playing a little bit slower. They got the Sojourn, and they're just going to try and kite away. We see blue team stage for this area. You know, Reaper's just TP'd in that way. Stalker's just jumped up top. And at this point, you would kind of expect them to reset around here. But that's not quite what happens, because we see Stalker commit both his cooldowns. He's used his E to get up top, and now he's used his shift to get over here, and he can't do anything. So he just dies. I don't really care about this fight. because I want to talk about. Again, I'm mostly just doing this to warm my voice up because it's been a long time since I've done this before. Mostly I want to talk about how teams are actually holding space. And they hold space via threat of a trade. So now that I know that works, and you can see my my bad ratio in comp, I have another piece of paper. I've lost. I'm just quite confused watching these games, because I'm not convinced that they're doing. Who's defending? Second round, I won. I'm not convinced that they're doing the best they can. I don't like. I would love to be able to hear the comms and know what these players are doing, but this fight is is a key example, and this is what confuses me. Right. So, okay, so here we have a situation. We have red team playing defense. We have, what team is this? Raccoons, right? Yeah. So, red team playing defense on this corner. Comp matchup, yeah, it's pretty much the same. Obviously, the only difference is the BAP. You would probably rather be the BAP team in this situation, because you can put a little bit more pressure on Sigma. And although the Suzu is good, very good at trading out on commitments, the types of commitments Suzu's good for are positional commitments, right? So if the enemy team were to, dive in and physically put themselves in this area, Suzu's very good at trading out on that type of commitment, because a positional commitment isn't one that you can disengage from. Whereas the way that blue team on the attack, the types of commitments they're going to put down are just going to be swinging out on angles and shooting, right? They're going to be committing to angles rather than committing to engages, yeah? So Suzu is difficult because it's like, yes, it makes you invincible, yes, you can do a little bit of healing underneath it, but it's going to be difficult to kind of bail these players out with Suzu. In the same way you would be able to if this team was, playing like Monkey or Ball or Doomfist and physically committing in, right? So you'd probably rather be the BAP team here, but that doesn't really matter too much, because the way that I've been trying to understand the game and the way that it's different to 6v6 is obviously we don't have this off tank, we don't have this ability to anchor corners the way that we used to. So the way that we're holding space is 100% via threat of a trade, right? So it's like these positions that these players are holding or can be holding, right? So let's say Sig's on the corner with full cooldowns. Let's say Sojourn's like a little bit wider. Let's say she's playing like somewhere in this area, depending on like what the enemy team are doing. Let's say Farah's like up here, spamming close, still has her cooldowns, right? And Mizuki counts as well, right? Usually it's only the flex support that isn't playing around threat of a trade. Obviously you do if you've got Anna and stuff, but yeah. So Chorong's where he is. He's got cooldowns. He's got his what's it called? The chain ready to go. All these players here have what we'd call threat of a trade, and this is how they hold space. Because if the enemy team were to, push in, right? Sojourn is here. She's ready to trade. Sig's here, full cooldowns. He's ready to walk in and trade. He's got his rock. He's got his shield. He can block heals from the back line. He can rock someone that's trying to run past him or run onto him. Then goes to Chorong, right? He can pop his when the team starts coming in, he can jump in with the chain. He can catch someone. Like everyone is, Farah as well is up top. She's ready to drop in and do something, either shoot the people that are coming in or dropping on the back line, which is probably what they look for. If the enemy team try and push in, here we have threat of a trade. And threat of a trade is the only way that we can hold space in a game where we don't have this kind of floating player. Yeah? Like we always held space with threat of a trade before, but now it's the only thing we can do. So it's like as soon as, for example, Stalker gets tagged, or Heesan gets tagged, they no longer have threat of a trade, because they drop back for heals or they hide in cover and they can't shoot people coming forward. And for blue teams, that means they can take more aggressive angles. So the only thing we're really looking at in pre-fight in this kind of skirmish phase is who has threat of a trade, what it means for each hero to have threat of a trade, and how teams are trying to break down that threat of a trade. And this is the only thing that makes sense to me when I'm looking at 5v5. So I drop into this match expecting to see two teams play it really well, and I basically don't see it whatsoever. So this is kind of why I'm doing this, because I'm trying to figure out, and hopefully someone can help me. Trying to figure out like what's going on with these players, and like why they're doing this. Anyway, so threat of a trade. This is what we're thinking about, because again, it's like that's the only thing stopping blue team from just walking in is that threat. Yeah. So we should expect all these players to be playing around it, like maintaining their threat of a trade wherever possible, looking for that situation where blue team have, because blue team are going to keep taking these little like jabs. They're going to keep coming out doing a bit of spam. Maybe they'll come out to this angle and then go back. They're going to keep trying to like bite little bits out of them, but they're not going to commit positionally. And like when you're positionally committed, it means you can no longer get out, or like no longer get out without, you know, immense commitment of resources, right? Like if Sojourn came like around to this angle right down the bottom of the screen, yeah, she could get out, but she's going to need like bat lamp. She's going to need Sig to push in and make space, you know. Whereas like these little jabs here in this area, they're not really positional commitments. They're just like little, you know, we're not using anything. We don't need to use anything. Yeah. So we want to look at how teams are playing around that. They're going to do this to try and break down again the threat of a trade that Max has on the corner, Chorong has, Stalker has, Heesang has. So watching this from like red team's perspective, if we ask ourselves like what threat of a trade does Max have here? Not just Max, but Stalker, Heesang as well, and Chorong, that is stopping Bernard from just running around this corner. Yeah? Like what's stopping them from just coming around? Like Proper can't come around because he's going to get shot. Yeah, you just get shot by Stalker. Stalker it's a little bit more difficult in defense, but you should be able to get some railgun charge. And then Proper's kind of scared, yeah, because he hangs up here as well. Knife. Oh, sorry. Yeah. The other, like the main thing stopping them really though, because again Bernard can just kind of walk in. The main thing stopping them is we have like the Sojourn E is quite good. We have the Conch Blast from the Pharah. Critically, we have these two cooldowns. From these guys, we have the Rock and we have the Chain. While these guys have these cooldowns, Bernard's kind of afraid to push in. If they didn't have these cooldowns, what's he afraid of? He doesn't care how much health these players have, right? He only cares if they have cooldowns. Yeah? So it's like you would expect, as the defending team, you're playing around this. Because Bernard, you can see he's going for something here. This is like a little jab, and it's quite nice from him. Because you see he's using the little flux thing. I forgot what it's called, the shift. And you see he comes around with it. He's still got his shield up. He's still got like health in his shield. He comes around with it. He's going to take a bit of damage. He's going to build a bit of over health. Yeah. And he's still got his rock, and he's going to use that over health to walk around and probably not commit at this point. But he's going to take one of those little like jabs that we're talking about. Because he can, when he's got the over health, he didn't really care about the shift, right? But when he's got the over health, he can stray a little bit wider than he otherwise would because he's got the extra health, yeah? And it's through that process of going out and going back that you're trying to create an entry. And you're trying to create an entry not by getting a kill, but initially by denying the threat of a trade, yeah? And we've seen, I'm assuming Knife, looks like it misses, but I don't know, that's just the visuals. I'm assuming Knife has hit the shot on Heesang. So like, maybe blue team are playing around it quite well. They get a bit of spam, they come around the corner. Heesang's been denied. But mostly I'm looking at Max. Because Knife comes around this angle and he's not committed. He's just on cart, he's just doing a bit of spam, he's not committed. But we see Max, right? Pop this rock and just like ape it onto cart. And as soon as this happens, there is no threat of a trade remaining. There is nothing stopping Bernard and Knife and Violet, even Shu. Like Heesang's turned around waiting for healing because he's taking a shot. He's not trying to preserve his threat of a trade. Stalker's definitely not trying to preserve his threat of a trade because he's just firing this E on high ground when people are coming out. There's nothing stopping Bernard from just walking onto the team. The only thing stopping them walking forward was the rock, and we've used it on a Sojourn that's hiding behind point. And like this is the part that I don't get it, right? Because it's like the whole team should understand this. It's a sick matchup. Yes, you've got Kiri, but like it's not. Again, when teams aren't positionally committing onto targets, it's difficult to get as much value out of the Suzu, right? Like BAP 100% is going to be getting a lot of value in this situation, especially versus Farah. But like, you still have to play around the threat of a trade. And the second that Max whiffs his rock, you know, and even if he hits it, like, do we care? Do we care if he hits knife behind cart? Maybe we get the kill, but like, Banar's going to be there to stop the follow-up. You've still got Lamp. Like, we don't really care if he hits it, right? Like, the Sojourn's getting forced out anyway, because he's speaking on a slightly aggressive angle. But like, yeah, as soon as this rock comes out, we've lost it. We have no threat of a trade. But if the team was playing around it, they should be able to recognize that as soon as Sig uses this rock, that threat of a trade is gone. There's nothing stopping Banar from just walking in. So if you're one of these other players, like Heesang has been tagged out, okay, there's some sort of micro error there that's made him do that. But we should expect Heesang to have his Farah E. We should expect Stalker to have his E as well. So that they're in a position to come around, or like say Heesang's still up here, to, you know, imagine if we dropped a Sojourn E on this cart. Actually, I'll just play it and see what happens actually. Because now Max has no threat of a trade. We're playing half speed. The team recognise that they can't hold the corner, right? But there's nothing stopping Bernard from just running in and rocking him. And it doesn't matter that we dump our support cooldowns on him, because it's not going to keep him alive. It's really odd, unless they're specifically playing around backing up and playing in the second corner. And like maybe they just mess it up. But like in terms of the cooldowns from Heesang and from Stalker, and especially from Chorong as well, when, again, I don't know if Banar's like baiting with this shift, trying to get the rock out. If Max is baited by that, then like this, I don't know. Like this is the grand finals? I'm not sure. Anyway, as soon as this rock comes out, we need to recognize this. As Heesang, we should be up top looking for an opportunity to disrupt this push. Again, our Sig has no longer got any threat of a trade, which means that the rest of the players have got to make up for it. Fortunately, we have 3 players that can do that really well, right? We have Stalker that can use the Sojourn E to deny the 6 push. We have Heesang that can use his Conch Blast, again, to deny the 6 push, or deny these players trying to get an angle onto the Sig. We have Chorong as well, who, as soon as this rock is wasted, surely we're looking for a chance to come out and get the chain onto the enemy Sig, so he can't just walk up and rock our Sig, right? I don't know, does that make sense? I don't think they should be saving the cooldowns as such. Like, but you have to use them in proportion to what the enemy have committed. Like, as the defending team, and this is the other aspect of threat of a trade, right? As a defending team, you're always trying to make the enemy team swing, yeah? At the moment, none of these players have swung, I would say. Maybe where we're paused, Heesang kind of, or not Heesang, sorry, Proper kind of is. But where you swing is, I'll do it in blue actually. Where you swing is where you kind of start crossing that line, because somewhere in this area there's this line where you are positionally committed, right? And whether or not you're positionally committed depends on, obviously, your hero. It depends on what the enemy team are playing. It also really depends on the cooldowns the enemy team have. Because if this team has no cooldowns, then, you know, this area where you're positionally committed, this line on the left side of the screen, isn't going to be there. It's going to be like here, right? Because I can't really do anything to you. The same goes for Banar. When Banar walks up in a minute, at no point is he positionally committed. Because Max doesn't have rock. Yeah? It's like before, Banar would be positionally committed at this angle, because if he goes any further than that, we're going to have to see a commitment of cooldowns, a commitment of resources to keep him alive there, or for him to get out. But as soon as Max uses rock, you know, Banar can go up here and he's not positionally committed, because the only thing he's got to worry about are these players, and they've already been forced down, right? So we don't want to see them saving cooldowns, not necessarily, because they still have to. In this early skirmish phase where we're just kind of shooting at the enemy team, we still have to aggressively fight for them. But, like, I don't see the value we're getting from this. And he's getting poked out as well. It's like... Anyway, sorry, I'm just... Like, he's hiding behind corner with no cooldowns, right? He's got nothing. He's got absolutely nothing. Stalker, again, he's got nothing. He's got 13 seconds on this. Choron must still have cooldowns. Like, he's still got everything. But you have to recognize this as the moment where, like, your Sig no longer has any threat. Yeah. And like this is the only way that you can play these skirmishes in 5v5. This is the only way, right? Because the only way that you're holding space is via your own threat. And as soon as you start just like farting cooldowns out, like, you no longer have it. Like, why are we trying to get a rock on this Sojourn when she comes here? Like, why? Like, I don't know what this is for. Maybe we're afraid of Knife peeking it and hitting our Pharah. I mean, he's got a beautiful angle on Carl anyway, and already chunked him out. I don't know where the Conch Blast came out pre-fight. Maybe we're just spamming. That's what I mean. It's like we're kind of just seeing players dump their cooldowns on the first target available, and this happens almost every fight. And then one team gets like a little advantage, and then we see kills just get traded out, and the better mechanical team, or the one that is in the luckiest position with the cooldowns, is winning after that. I'm struggling to kind of see the path of the default, you know, that these teams are playing. And I really don't know why we don't recognize the danger Max is in. Oh, and Max doesn't recognize the danger of using his rock. The longer he holds this rock, the longer he holds the corner. He basically doesn't want to use it. Like we don't want him to use it, because as soon as he uses it, Bernard now has freedom to walk in. Yeah. So like trading it for nothing, trading it for Knife's position here, where Knife was not positionally committed. If Knife was a little bit further out, and we saw him go for it, that's reasonable. Yeah. But Knife is not in a position of Knife is not positionally committed. So we don't want to use our cooldowns, because we can just shoot them. If they're not committed, we can just shoot them. And this is what I don't really get. You know, and it's like, yes, okay, we have the Suzu and we have all this other shit, but it's not going to keep him alive. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone else has ideas, but we'll watch a couple fights. Again, this is mostly like a warm-up for me, just to like start thinking about the game again. Because again, I'm trying to work out the vocabulary. I'm trying to work out the defaults. Like, I don't know if I care about this really. I mean, we see a lot of fights like that where you couldn't really pinpoint the moment of commitment. You couldn't really pinpoint I mean, you probably, if we went through every cooldown, we look at every situation, we could find that critical moment where one player has strayed a little bit too far in, or like they've used a couple too many cooldowns. But like there's the divide between skirmishing and committing is not always that clear for these comps. But I think it could be, and I think if you're playing the game well, it should be, right? This is quite interesting. So we see it's kind of debatable whether this is a swing or not, because usually the two types of swing that we see, and again, this is where we're committing beyond our escape options, or like our personal escape options. And again, that depends a lot on how much aggressive potential, how much threat of a trade the enemy team have at that time. It's debatable how much threat of a trade, what they're called, ZETA have at the moment, because obviously they've got like the back window, and they've got the Sig close with ult, but I don't know how well staged they are threat of a trade wise. But like, yeah, it's debatable whether this is a swing, because the two types of swing are we swing round into enemy LOS beyond what we can escape ourselves. The other type of swing is where we are split enough from the rest of our team that if the enemy went for example, if we pushed in, we haven't really got the comp to do that, but if we were to push in, are these players too far away to help before we get enough of an advantage here to win the fight, right? Obviously, if we push this way, I don't think that's the case, because these players can just kite out very easily and These guys have got angles. But could we do the same to them before these guys could do something? Maybe, right? And it's within that discussion, right? Whether or not this is a swing, and depending on the calm, depending on the map, depending on what we have available, whether or not that is a swing. That is where so much of the kind of macro understanding of the game is contained now that we only have 5 players, right? Because again, whether or not it's a swing is often dependent on whether or not we have threat of a trade in that area. I don't know if we do at the moment. Because like we ult main with the Sig, that's fine. And in my head, it's like, okay, fantastic. Because by using the Sig ult, you've delayed these players and you've further extended this distance. And now I say, yes, this is a swing. They have swung. So if the rest of the players on our team are trying to recognize this, we should expect, Proper to be close on the corner, ready to fight, right? We should expect these players to be ready to run in and try and get an advantage in this area. I think, anyway, I don't know. Bernard definitely thinks that. And then we're forced to go in and commit resources on them anyway. But we have to do it in a worse position. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? I remember watching, because I watched some 6v6 stuff recently, just to kind of remind myself. And I was surprised at how much effort you have to put in to earn a kill, like to earn an advantage. You have to really kind of build it up. You have to collect enough ingredients before you go for an engage. And I know this is a Sig matchup on Circuit Royale, which is one of the worst places to look for that type of thing. But you'd still expect them to do something other than just stand in front of each other. But mostly that first fight, I was just shocked. I was just shocked at the way that Max, like, the only reason he was able to stand on that corner is because he had rock and he had threat, and he just throws it away. I think I remember this one. I think this is where Bernard looks for an off angle. Yes. Okay, so this is interesting. So we're coming up main, no one's committing anything, we're spamming, fighting. Obviously there is a risk that one of these players just gets tapped in this situation, but we don't see it happen. These are good players. Chorong comes in, nice little play with the Maywall to like give Chorong the chance to run past it and look for this route, like this chain with the Mizuki. Let's see. Nice. If we're a little bit quicker on this, it's a great kill. A little bit quicker on this is a great kill. I don't know why he's not there. I don't know why he's not. Like, I don't know why he's not there. Because he goes for it, but he goes for it when he sees it, not when the wall goes up. So maybe there's just no comm. Maybe there's nothing. But if he catches Bernard here, where the wall first goes down, or at least comes out and threatens Bernard, I don't care if he hits it or not, but he needs to come out and threaten him, right? And then if he threatens him, what does it mean? It means Bernard's shield goes up earlier. It means that the timings of blue team peeling for Bernard are forced, right? Because Proper's going to try and commit to get some damage on Chorong. We might see, where is he? He's off screen at the moment. He's down here, Shu. We might see Shu, jump up as Batiste to like try and get some LOS over the top of the wall. And what does it mean? It means we have options for damage on these players because we're choosing the timing, right? That they are, coming around and using their cooldowns, using their health pools, right? Like, I don't know what's the reason for that delay there. Just there's no call. He's just puts up a wall, says nothing. I don't know. Maybe it's not that bad. I just find it hard to believe that we haven't yet found a way to make this stuff a little bit more clinical. But they... Whoa. Okay, right. Same again here, no? Fighting. Why? What? Why? Why? What are we doing? The only thing stopping these players walking on you, right? Okay. If he hits this, it's great, but like he's not going to hit it. You know, we can just stand here and keep shooting. We're not. We haven't got the best angles. You know, we're like kind of skirmishing with May, trying to get walls. There's a fire shooting us, but like, it's like if this all happened at the same time, you know, May hits the wall, Jorong jumps around with the root, and then Max is there as well. Like then we have something. You know, we have a fight. You know, we have the chance of, even if we don't catch Bernard, we have the chance of, like, at the very least, the rest of the players on the team that aren't Bernard are forced to come around and do something. Yeah. And if they're forced to come around and do something, it means that we have a chance to catch them out. It means that they are not deciding when to use their cooldowns. They're not deciding when to use, you know, cash in on that threat of a trade that they've got. It means we're deciding when they do it, right? Because again, this is what we're talking about with like threat of a trade. You have proper on this corner. You have Violet on this corner. Sojourn's playing in the back here, right? Like they have threat because this Farah can come round. This Violet can come round and do damage. Sojourn can commit round, get some damage, jump up for a railgun if the situation allows for it, right? Like these players have threat, which is what's stopping Red Team just walking straight onto Bernard. Yeah. But if we are able to catch Bernard with a Maywall and threaten him with the root, even if we don't hit it, threaten him with a rock, even if we don't hit it, as long as all that happens at the same time, you're forcing these players to, you know, commit and do something. And if you're forcing the timing of them doing whatever they're doing, right, then you have a much better chance of dealing with it, rather than letting them just choose when to do it themselves. Which is when your fights are decided by a single cooldown trade, that's the only way you can think about it. Anyway, so that fails because I don't know, just the timing seemed a little odd. But then we see Bernard pop this rock main. And the thing is, if I was Bernard, I would be thinking, because again, like it was on the first point attack, what's stopping me just walking onto them and killing them? Like what's actually stopping you, right? Maywall, Sigrock, I forgot what it's called, the chain, the root that this guy's got, right? This guy's cooldown as well with the shift. May's health pool, right, is stopping you coming forward. Obviously, Sojourn's like damage threat, specifically Sojourn's E as well. Has she got it? I'd be very surprised if Stalker still has it. No, it doesn't have it. Yeah, right. So if we're tracking any of these cooldowns, we know that like in this moment that we've like stopped in, the defenders have nothing. They've got nothing left. So what's stopping us just holding this goddamn rock, right, and walking in and doing something? Because Violet's got cooldowns. Proper Violet. They both have threat of a trade. Bernard, he's had to back out a bit, so his threat of a trade has been diminished, right? If he was a little bit closer, I mean, he can't really play here, he'll just get shot. But like, if he was like maybe here on cart, in the same situation, like exactly the same situation, he's just here, then he has a much heavier threat of a trade because he's got the proximity too. But right now, like, if you're on blue team, you should be screaming for this opportunity to cash in on the threat of a trade that you have. Because the enemy team have just wasted all of theirs. There's nothing stopping you just walking on there. Okay, yeah, you're afraid of Mail. You're afraid of just the insane burst damage that Sojourn's capable of. But in terms of like their whole team, they've wasted this threat of a trade, right? So why are we trying to snipe a mate with a rock? Playing for window? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't get it. He's got no shield. He's got no cooldowns. He's using his shift. Like, he might have popped it after he saw Bernard use the rock, but like what's stopping us just walking on the Sig? Nothing. Like the same way we did on first point. Walk onto him, rock him, follow up with the chain. As soon as he's damaged, like we can swing round. Our Farah is focusing. She should be focusing pretty much entirely on denying the Sojourn, which she is, right? She's hit the damage on the Sojourn too, right? Like she's hit the damage, so the Sojourn is incapable of, should be, I say incapable of peeking. Yeah, jumped straight out, right? But for some reason we don't recognize that, just like we did on first point, when Maywall is out, Mizuki cooldowns are out, and Sig has no rock, right? That we can't just walk in and do something. What are we waiting for? Because you haven't got to win the fight there either. But if you walk in, you pressure max, it means that they never get a chance to stabilize cooldowns. Yeah. We have a beautiful Sojourn E2 in this doorway to further zone out this Mei, right? Like, surely we have an opportunity to put some pressure on the Sig. Yeah. Or like we would have if we hadn't fired that rock towards the Mei. And I don't think. Maybe he did, but I don't think he sang popped his shift for the Sig rock. Oh, this is so scary. So scary for the Mei playing against this. No, he's just popping for the damage. He knew that wasn't going to hit him. Mostly for knife, I think he's afraid of. So like, do you see what I mean? Binding chain. That sounds about right. Binding chain. But yeah, you see what I mean, right? It's like in this couple seconds before, Maywall comes up, right? From red team's perspective, we should be expecting, like, because we're peaking. Like, surely we want our options to peak at the same time that we're popping this Maywall. It's like, I know it doesn't look that great, but it's like, if this Maywall's coming up, there's nothing stopping Chorong, like, also, because they do it anyway. There's nothing stopping these players coming around and trying to put some pressure on them. Again, it's like you're not necessarily looking for the Sig. You're kind of half looking for the Sig and half trying to force these players to do something. You know, if these players feel pressured to do something to protect the Sig, you're in a good place. So that happens, and then after that, right, we see Max commit his shield. He's not got very much shield left. Right, the Mei's out of ice block. Oh wait, no, we haven't got that yet. Yeah, all right. We see Max commit his rock. We see Chorong commit his cooldowns. We're coming forward. The Mei's in a position where her ice block is going to get forced without the rock that Bernard is currently using. Like, where's the call? Like, dude, like, are we not skirmishing, not committing anything? We're never extending into a position of positional commitment, right? Like Bernard when he was here, even though he got Maywalled, he wasn't positionally committed, right? Because we didn't have to use anything to get him out, right? Like he's still able to get out using just his personal cooldowns, so he's not positionally committed, right? So the players on both teams, they're not committing, skirmishing until they've forced enough of the enemy's threat of a trade that they can give up on those positions. These positions, which are at the start of the fight tradable positions, right? Because if the enemy team were to push in, you have players that are either able to deny that engage or to go for a trade. Yeah, like they are tradable positions. As the fight goes on, these tradable positions are worth less and less, because if you don't have cooldowns, you no longer have threat of a trade, so it's not a tradable position. And then equally, if the enemy don't have cooldowns, then your tradable position isn't back here. It might be further forward. It might be here. It might be here. So, like this initial opening position where you play on the assumption the enemy team has full cooldowns, full health pools available, is only valuable for that, first 20 seconds of the fight where you're just spamming and doing a bit of damage. What you are doing is you are in these positions, you are a coiled spring looking for an opportunity like the one that Max has just given you, like the one that Heesang has just given you and Chorong, right? So like you're not ready for that. You're like, what? Like, why are you not ready for that? I don't know. I don't get it. Like why is Bernard not like salivating when he sees Max's rock come flying past him and miss him like 2 seconds ago? Surely he's looking forward to Unscripted, and surely like Proper's like, fantastic. I'm going to come around, hit this Sojourn, and she's denied. These players are going to come forward. Mei's denied. As soon as the Sojourn's forced to shift out, there's nothing stopping Knife from coming around peak and wide. There's nothing stopping Shu from coming around and peak and wide. Yeah, we have our Bat Lamp as well, which, again, we don't want to use it defensively when damage comes in. If these players push in the knowledge that they have Lamp, we can pop a Lamp like here, on top of Max. Because when we push in, Max is probably going to get pushed back. We can keep these players alive. You see what I mean? It's like, we are fortunate enough to have forced these cooldowns just from Bernard playing a slightly kind of baity position on point, right? Which then means, like, again, like, you are a coiled spring. Violet understands it, right? I think Proper understands it as well. These players probably all understand it, but like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. This is the grand final, right? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I need to try and speak a little bit more clearly. But let me just read this. I guess they're probably just looking at this from an alt's perspective. They want to play for window and play to avoid my ult. Maybe. I don't know, but also like, if you're trying not to get destroyed by a male, the way to do it is to push in. You know, when you know she hasn't got wall, right? Because not only does she not have wall to block you in the ult, because you're pushing in, you're choosing the timing. And if she throws this male across point at you, at the timing of your choosing, because you're the one pushing their sig, like that's gonna be very easy to deal with. But instead we see Bernard throw this down main. Max is 300 health on this corner. The rest of his team's already run away. We have a fantastic zoning Sojourn E from Knife, right? Like I don't know how you're not recognizing these opportunities. Like surely the thing that makes a good Overwatch League, or what's it called, Overwatch, I don't know, professional Overwatch team, is recognizing these opportunities to commit, recognizing when these positions that you're holding, again where they're safe and you have threat of a trade, are no longer necessary to hold. You can spend these positions. They are a resource that you can spend, and you can trade it for the opportunity to run in and pressure the sig. Yeah, this is criminal. Like Bernard goes on this angle, which is what are we doing from here? Like it's not the worst, but he's gonna get shot by everyone. He's standing in this. May's gonna come out and hold him. He eats the Mail, fantastic. But at this point, Max is stabilized. Stalker's back on the angle after Proper denied him the first time. May's probably got May's got a wall back. And now Bernard's in a terrible position. He's positionally committed at this point, right? So like here he wasn't positionally committed because he can still walk out. Here he is positionally committed because there's no way that you're getting him out of this position, even if he's full health, right? Without committing resources, yeah? And he's not full health, he's like 200, so he's dead. He gets rocked as well, you know, like... And like Shoes could maybe be a little bit quicker with the lamp, I don't know, but like, you know? It's like... If we're trying to build... And like we're still coming around and committing cooldowns and ultimates anyway. Like... If we're trying to build the mindset of a team that is looking for solutions, yeah? And this is what made Overwatch 1 into its kind of solved state, in my perspective, right? Because we had this very clear method of winning fights, right? You had to get some form of angle. You had to have some sort of ultimate. You know, just because you pretty much always had ultimates. Wasn't that necessary. But critically, you had to have your backline rotated close enough to follow through with an engage. If your backline wasn't close enough to follow through with an engage, there's no way that you're winning a fight, right? And like that was how you created a solution. Because obviously, to get your backline there, you had to skirmish for positions. And then obviously you had to have the same timing involved. In every fight, you could kind of look at it and you could figure it out and you could say, right, this is how you fight, this is blah, blah, blah. That's a terrible explanation of something that I've made a lot of videos about in the past, right? But in Overwatch 2, I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking for teams that have figured this out. They've figured out a solution of how to win a fight. Because again, it's a problem that you're trying to figure out, the problem you're trying to find a solution for. The only thing that I can see, the only thread that I can see that we can pull on is this idea of the tradable position. Yeah? What's the tradable position, and when have the enemy team swung out wide enough that it makes sense for us to cash in on this tradable position and push in? And the only thing that's deciding whether the enemy team has swung out wide enough is whether they have their own thread of a trade. Yeah? And it's like, as soon as we see Red Team use that thread of a trade, again, this exact situation, if Bernard has his rock here, surely we're just walking in and killing Max. We rock him, we hit him with the binding chain. Stalker's already been denied, you know, Proper's done a fantastic job. And then these players, when this Maywall comes out, right, why is Shu not pathing up? Why is Knife not pathing up? Like, this is the time that we want to go. They've just used all their cooldowns. Chorong's out, he can't chain anyone. Like, Stalker's out too. Like, surely Proper in the comms right now is screaming that he's denied this sojourn. Yeah? I really don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway. So I'm looking for teams that figure this out. I'm looking for teams that have found a way to create a solution to fights. You know? And I haven't really seen anyone yet. I see in so many of these pro games, teams that are far too willing to take what are basically 50-50s, you know? What else are we looking at? King's Row. I was looking at a little bit of King's Row. And again, this is the Korean Grand Finals, right? But yeah, that first example with Max on the corner using the rock, again, where there's no ultimates in play, we're basically just fighting in a straight line. Like, that's the most criminal one, because you have nothing else to think about.
3, 2, 1.
So, King's Row is a bit tough. I don't remember this. I've seen a bit of, what they're called, Crazy Raccoon's defense. But I haven't seen that much of the attack. So we're going to talk about, we're going to be trying to keep pulling on this thread of a trade, tradable position, and the swing as well. I thought the swing would be more important. In these comps, it's less important. Back when we're looking at kind of the, Lucio Kiri, what's his name? Monkey Sojourn comps. The swing is really important because it's very obvious, right? You can imagine, King's Row is a bad example, but you can imagine like if you've got players, playing here, fighting against each other on point, like that red team. When a player comes through here, that's the swing. Or when a player comes up here, that's the swing. And then that's the moment that the team is playing around. And then it'll all happen in an instant, right? And it's the way teams play around the swing or understand the swing is the most important thing. Because either we think we try and ape their main and get an advantage here, or we're playing around the knowledge that this player's trying to peek an angle and we try and deal with them, right? Or we recognize they're coming and maybe they're using ultimates and we're ready for it, so we have a chance to disengage, right? So the swing is very important. I've seen less of it in these matches as I thought I would. Unfortunately from Hisang. Anyway, so yeah. So we're going to keep trying to pull on this thread of tradable position. What is this tradable position? And how are we going to recognize it? How are we going to break down the enemy's threat of a trade? Okay, this is good. This is good. So we force point. Perfect. Right, okay. So, what do we understand? We understand that Bernard, in a position like this, is very obviously not positionally committed, because he can stay there for as long as he wants, doesn't really matter. However, as soon as he drops point, forced to drop point, right? Now he is, or at least he should be, somewhat positionally committed. Obviously, he has enough cooldowns that he can probably get himself off a point, right? But he's going to have to commit a fair amount to do that. Like, we should know that this position is quite scary for him, because we can just shoot him, we can do whatever we want to him, all sorts, right? We should also understand, and again, this is what we're talking about with the swing, we should also understand that players are not, because again, we haven't got enough tanks, so we're not like holding this angle permanently. Like, players are not holding angles, they are peaking them at a specific time. By touching point, we have decided the time that Knife is going to peak this angle. We've chosen it. We've chosen it ourselves. This is what we've chosen the time Knife's going to peak this angle. I remember this fight now. I have seen it before. We've chosen the time he's going to peak this angle. So, because we know what time the SIG's dropping. When the SIG drops, Knife has to peak. If Knife does not peak, we do so much damage to the SIG. Okay, yes, he has his cooldowns, but even if we don't damage him, we're burning all his cooldowns. We're forcing this Anna to commit to an angle. She's got to stay there and heal him. We might, if we're lucky, even force Violet to come down and start healing him. Yeah. If we're really lucky, we might even force Proper to, start using cooldowns to do something. Yeah. But the main thing we're forcing, and the most important thing, is this idea of the swing. And we are choosing the timing. Sorry, I was a little bit loud. We're choosing the timing that Knife peaks this angle. So what should we expect from Red Team in this situation? We should be expecting them to understand this and be ready for this peak. Because where else is he going to be? There's only one place he can be, and it's going to be over here. Right? What we really don't want to happen is him just to come out and pop our cat, right? Because our Genji's not there to dash up onto him. Our Anna's not ready for him to come out. Our Pharah's not ready for him to come out. Our D.Va, no one's ready for him to come out. There's nothing else he can do. It's his only option, right? He's not going to stick behind and play on point. We've made the Sig drop. The Sig is in an untenable position if we're around point shooting him. The knife is forced to hit his flank at this time. The whole reason we're touching point is not just to make Sig drop, it's to force the enemy team to commit to something. As the more mobile team on the attack, we have that potential of using the objective to force the enemy team to commit. Right? Everything in Overwatch 2, because we no longer have this ability to stabilize, is about finding ways to force the enemy team to commit. Whether it's health pools, by standing there getting shot, whether it's cooldowns. Very importantly, when teams commit to their flanks, right? Because he can only really do this once. And it's the same thing. Maybe, let's say they had a Tracer instead, a Tracer hiding in here, or a Reaper, right? Again, maybe not the best hero example. Or maybe they had a Sombra lurking around the backline. When's that Sombra going to hit a flank, right? It's going to be when the Sig drops and we start pressuring him. Because if we don't do that, he's going to be denied, and then she's not going to be able to get value from a flank. But if she hits it at the same time as the Sig's taking attention, then you have a much better chance. Now, if we're playing around that, we're playing in the knowledge that we are deciding the time that the team are hitting their flanks, then we should be able to play. Then we should be able to deal with it. And again, this is where, in my head at least, like 80% of the analysis of Overwatch 2 comes from. Just the timings of the swing, and the swing can be a tank coming around. Very often, it's a ranged DPS coming around. Because again, like this is a position of commitment. But he should still be able to get out with his shift, right? And he's got Violet there to help him. But it's still a position of commitment because he's using cooldowns to get out, and he's using support to get out, right? Like forcing these commitments is and like this idea of the swing, when you force the swing, is basically like 80% of the game. At least the way I see it, right? And if we're not recognizing something as simple as a fight on King's Row attack. The first fight, we have no ults to play around. The only tool the defenders have up their sleeve, right? Obviously they got the TP, but like the only real tool they have up their sleeve is knife peeking this angle, and we've chosen the timing already. I don't know. I'm talking a little bit too long about this point, but it's the most important thing. I'm not sure. I don't know where the issue comes from. I don't know where it comes from, and maybe someone with more experience than me, with the way the pro teams are playing, can enlighten me. But it's like, oh fucking hell! It's like you know, it's basic. It's so basic, and it's like if these players are dying on the screen. Okay, so this is the first one. So he comes out. Again, we're deciding the time he peeks this angle. He gets the first kill, right? So now we want to chill out. You know, can't really do much. Why are we using cooldowns on this? And then he dies because he hasn't got nade. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. Oh my god. Boys, please. Right. I don't know. Maybe they're just pissing about because it's the attack, but also like... Anyway, so we can't spawn again. Max is on the big one. I mean, fair enough. Nice rock. Anna's gone top. Again, are we prepared for this? We should be prepared for it this time. We got burnt by it the first time. This time, surely we're ready. Surely, yeah, we're good. All right, Stalker's up in the air. He's got cooldowns. Yeah, we got full CDs. He's getting his health back, then he's going to be up top. Max is taking a lot of attention back here. Unsure whether like that's best. Maybe it's not so bad. Okay, that's good. So we saw it, we didn't die, we denied him. Now he's back with his team. Fantastic, right? Max has dropped. Max has done a cracking job actually. Oh, we've denied Violet from getting in the room. We have to decide how much we care about this fight. at this point. Because there's a lot of situations like this is once you have that opening swing, everything after that is basically just players are using their cooldowns on the first player that appears in front of them. It's very rare that we see like a full reset. And at that point, how much do I care? Not so much, you know. I don't really want to go into like exact specifics of the way these players are fighting. Basically just what they're called. Red team has a much more mobile comp and they're able to get more resources into more places and into more surprising places. As soon as Knife, again, you can see, as soon as Knife was denied that angle, they didn't really have much left. Yeah. That's impressive. I'm assuming they just win this fight. Yeah. It's really impressive when the best teams are making mistakes. Contextually, these are less because they'd already qualified. Is that the case? Am I getting baited into thinking this is an important match? To be fair, I haven't paid attention to the format. I just kind of saw grand finals and clicked on it. That would be quite funny if that was the case. I'm getting confused by nothing. I think they care, right? Is there there's no like prize pool difference in this? It's not important. Okay, fair enough. Right. We'll watch a couple more fights anyway. But I struggle to see. I struggle to kind of see the thread that's like pulling these players in the same direction. You know. There was a fight. There was one more fight I wanted to look at. I'm trying to remember what it was. A lot of it is CR aren't really respecting the game. They're just going for solo plays. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. This there's one thing I find quite interesting, and I don't know if I don't know if this is like a common play, but the use of what's it called, Cat E to deny SimTPs is quite interesting. Because again, this is like from the perspective of Crazy Raccoons. It's like why are you doing this? Yeah, and this is what I mean, where like there's so many situations where. Not just in this match. I kind of picked this one because it was like two very good teams, where we see players basically they're almost just going for like 50-50s. You know, like this TP is like there is not. You do not know what's going to happen when you TP here. You do not have confidence that like this is going to give you a fantastic angle. Like yeah, okay, you think you can like the angle on the Ana is quite good. There's not really anything else. Anyway, the Cat E to deny these TPs is quite impressive actually. I like it a lot. Like, what's his name? Vigilante misses his window because of it. I see, right. I think it's great. I think it's... I think the use of the power on teleport is... I don't know what else you'd use it for. I don't know why else you'd want to play Cat in these situations.
60 seconds remaining.
I don't really care about this. I think they lose here. There was a fight. Maybe it's their first point defense. There's one more fight I wanted to have a look at because it made me smile.
Ready for battle.
Oh, I think it was their first point defense. Team TPs are really bad. Yeah, I don't really get it. Like,
Attackers incoming. Defend
If the answer to all my questions is these teams are pissing about, then I don't know though. But because it's like, this is still like we're still expecting them to like play the game properly. Because again, it's like what are we doing here? I don't know. What are we doing from these positions? Does it give me hope? I don't know. It's confusing because it's like this is again like I've been watching other games and feeling the same way, and then this was the one where I thought like this would be just an interesting one to look at. But the amount of situations that are basically just like 50-50, like jump in, commit cooldowns, it baffles me. Like it doesn't feel like teams have found a real way to gain an advantage, and like this type of shit too, where we're just we're going to 5-man TP into their backline for what reason? Why are we doing this? I don't know. I think we've probably seen enough. Most of the interesting stuff I wanted to say was actually about like those couple fights on.
Its destination.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, most of the interesting stuff I want to say was about those couple fights on circuit, because I feel like they were good for understanding this idea of like tradable positions, and like when a position's no longer tradable, and when as soon as the enemy team no longer have a threat of a trade, like that's the moment you got to just go in. And if you recognize that one of your teammates no longer has threat of a trade, you also need to recognize that as the direction the enemy team are going to start throwing their resources. Anyway, if, like you're saying, they're pissing about because it's not important, that makes a little bit more sense. But even then, I don't know how true that is. But watch this TP, because they had one that actually worked. I assume it's this one. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? We're looking at more maps with stakes. If you watch, yeah, I watched a lot of the thingy. I forgot what they're called. Oh, I don't know if the stream queue was on that. I don't really know how this works. I watched a lot of the EMEA ones. This was important, right? I can't remember these maps though. Just watch map 7. Are there bans on map 7 or is that? Oh, I see my SR. Oh no. I haven't played in a while. I'll have a little look at this. I haven't. Maybe I'll watch this live actually. I did watch this live. VP, I've been, of all the teams, I've probably been the most impressed by. Okay. Let me see if I can remember any of this. We'll watch this quickly because I haven't. Again, this is good. This is good. This is kind of what we're looking for, because it's not, the enemy team haven't really committed anything, but they've committed like the time and the pathing, and I guess once you see this Mauga go in here, is a good time to do it, because now he's, if we're just looking at pure distance, now we're starting to get to a point where like there's some sort of positional commitment. I don't know if I remember these games though. Do they get there in time?
The objective is now
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and it's like it's not always clear like whether or not it's a good trade or not, but it's Mauga basically has no other option, right? Than to like go for a charge, and like this is how you want to use SimTP. I can't remember. I think I watched the final. I don't know if I watched the other ones. Well, see, to be honest, I haven't seen these. But I watched them live, but I haven't like had a scan through them. I don't know how much interesting stuff I'll have to say about them on the spot. I kind of like to already know what I'm looking at. Especially a map like this where you have such, it is quite long range, but you have such tight angles that you can like hide Reapers on. Because I get the TP, but he disturbs it enough that Kev's has got no cooldowns. So this is kind of what I'm talking about, where we no longer have threat of a trade. It's obviously quite difficult to trade on Mauga anyway. But we've used cooldowns here. We've used the Suzu. We've used the like all of Sojourn's cooldowns, right? So it's very difficult for this team to play for a trade. And if they don't have, we see the Rock come out as well, right? And it's like if they don't have this capacity to play for a trade, it means that we have a chance to engage. Yeah, and I mean Ziad hits it. Just come off cooldown, you know, nice timing. Ziad hits it, and now we're fine. Again, like we still don't have the Suzu because we're forced to use it for the TP. I mean, yeah, fine. Yes, that's a good point. So, because again, it's like you're making this guy stretch to deny this TP. I feel like you probably could have just like killed the Mauga here, no? Because again, these players. So this is what we're talking about. So this Sojourn here, she has no threat of a trade because she's so far away. This Reaper, somewhat because he can TP in, but that takes time, and he's still very fucking far away, and he's tagged, right? So these players do not have threat of a trade in this area, yeah. And this is what, like, when we're working out how to play from a macro perspective, this is what we want to recognize. If the Reaper instead was I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario is like here, right? And like maybe the Sojourn is instead of over there, she's like here or like with the supports. Then we're a little bit more scared because they actually have threat of a trade, right? That opening fight over here where they did the first TP, completely fair enough because the enemy team had threat, yeah. Like they were stacked up close. They were ready to just follow through, so they had threat. Over here, they don't have that same threat. So, is there a need to disengage? Again, not so much, right? And like that's every analysis, every coaching method, everything that we can use to try and work out whether or not a decision is good or bad or not in Overwatch 2. I really kind of think it's based on how much threat of a trade you have, because it's like it decides whether or not you are free to do whatever you want, or whether or not you have to play very conservatively because you're at risk of getting blown up, right? And in Overwatch 1, that wasn't so important because, again, you had this floater, you had this off-tank, this guy that could just kind of absorb any disadvantage when it came up. But like, why? Like, there's no need for us to TP back. In fact, we TP'd into a worse position than we were in before, right? But again, saying that retrospectively isn't quite as important as saying it when, you know, we recognize Where is it? As soon as we see this. Yeah, okay, so at this point, Sojourn should be scouted. Yeah, like, even if she's not physically scouted, we can hear her bullets. She's shooting over here, like we know where she is. Reaper, I don't think he's been seen yet. Now he's been seen, right? So we know where they are. Like, we know that they have no threat over here, so we can just dump cooldowns on this Mauga and like do a lot of damage to him. If our Sig's here and hits his rock after the slam, like we're in a pretty good spot. Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, it's the only thing that we're really looking at is threat of a trade. Like that's just the key. If the enemy team don't have threat of a trade, we can do whatever we want. Because again, if these players were closer, the amount of time it takes to like pressure Mauga, and even if we don't kill him, get him low enough that his supports have to dump healing into him, or maybe he's got to run away. The amount of time it takes to do that is very scary. If there's a Sojourn in a position to come in, or there's a Reaper in a position to hit a flank, if there's no one in a position to do that, then we can afford to spend that time. And it's the matchup is mostly just about recognizing that. Like, it's quite lucky that ZETA gets away with this. Like, the timings are very close, you know, like, Kevster's very almost got his shift back up. Landon's very almost got his Suzu back up. Have a look again. So we're looking at threat of a trade. If this Mauga, it's very difficult for blue team in this position to pressure this Mauga enough that he doesn't have threat of a trade. Because even if he's half health, he's not like super terrified about running in. Mostly we're talking about the Reaper. Like, if we can scout the, we're doing so much damage to him, man. Okay, that's quite nice. That's good. Is it good? We'll see. At the very least, we've forced the timing of this push, yeah? So it's like, I think this is good. Because again, it's like we forced the Suzu out. Again, threat of a trade is reduced when you haven't got Suzu, because she can kind of like follow through and punish. We forced the timing of this, we forced the timing of this TP as well. Assuming Kevster still has cooldowns, which he should. Landon should still have cooldowns as well. There should be no reason that we're dying to this. Yeah. Kevster goes maybe the wrong way. I think he's doing okay. We turn around and peel. Fixer dies. I'm surprised. I'm surprised we lose that. Because again, it's like we know where this Mauga is. I don't think this Reaper's been scouted, which is maybe part of the problem. You know, like if we have players playing more aggressively around the scout, namely like the Lucio, Sim can kind of do it as well. Although it's very difficult to scout a Reaper. If he doesn't want to be found, he's not going to be found. But I'm surprised that we'd added this. Maybe it's just unlucky with the direction that Kevster goes. If he goes the other way and we call for a flip, like, we're pretty happy. And again, this is the other part of threat of a trade, right? Is that it's not just trading back, it's trading forward as well. Like, we know that, I don't know, it's difficult. It's difficult to make the call in the moment, like what the right play is. Because they could have all gone back, or they could have all gone forward, right? Does Mauga live there normally, or was that a misplay? What, in this position, or where he runs across? When he's running, there's like he's very difficult to kill when he's running, because he's got like the bruiser perk or whatever it's called, and then he's also got like damage resistance himself on his charge. He's difficult to kill. And he did time it at the same time as the Reaper TP, so it was difficult for people to get damage on him. To be honest, I'm not... Yeah, difficult situation. I'm not too interested in tracking down each micro part of that fight. Yeah, when he runs, he's tough. If they're on Lucio, I think you're kind of forced to play for Team TP at the start of the fight. Yeah, because they can follow through more with the Lucio. I think it's tough because it's like you have got the TP, but you haven't got anyone that can catch someone. So like again, in that situation where you force this engage over here with the Reaper, and then it's like because your Sig is up close with like full health, and like you have players up here, you feel like there should be someone here for you to catch. Whether there is or isn't, it's kind of tough because it's like you're kind of stuck on low ground. You haven't got any way to contest up top. Our TP as well was quite poor, I think. I'm not too sure what he was looking at. We will go back and have a look. Go on. Like I know that was just like a personal one. Maybe he thought Mauga was gonna like. I guess he wants to dodge like the Mauga charge if it's on him. Which is fair enough, but like equally, right? You almost want to recognize that because you've done so much damage to him, he has very little threat. He has very little threat. So it's like, and when he doesn't have threat, it means that you can go for your own trade. Or like you can play around your own trade. Like you've done so much damage to him, and the Sig isn't gonna really feed him any health. That like this Mauga's kind of fucked. And like yes, he can run all the way over here and reset. But like if we were instead to play for flip, then we have a little bit more option. I don't know. It's difficult to say. I'm not too familiar with like the matchup. I don't know. My heart tells me they should have played forward rather than try and absorb it. Because there's a lot of areas on this map that people can hide, you know? Like... and like you do have a Lucio, a Sojourn and a Kiri that can kind of fight for this top area if you need to. Especially if you know that like you're forcing this Mauga to commit, you're forcing the Reaper to commit because you're doing so much damage to the Mauga, they have to go at that time. Like I don't know, it's difficult to make those calls like mid-fight, but if you're not ready to go for a trade forward, then I don't know if we should have anyone on point apart from the Sig. Don't know. He has his Mauga there, which is useful for him, but he can't do a tremendous amount with it if Sigma's got cooldowns. Anyway, we'll see. It's tough on this map because you have these angles that are really good for Mauga charges and like really good for Reaper TPs. You have a lot of these situations where like the Mauga can basically just charge in and take like a 50-50. You know? Let's look at the timing of this engage and see if they actually like force anything or whether they're just running straight in with ults.
This ends.
Was the ad going for this already? I'm going to assume not. I'm quite interested because it's like I guess these players can close distance quite quickly. Like you're really happy with this as I think you're happy with it anyway. You're really happy with this as blue team. Because you forced like the Reaper and the Soldier did not have any threat of a trade. Yeah. Like in this area, they didn't have any threat of a trade, so it's like I don't know. I don't see the need for ZETA to come in and fight because this Sojourn here, that wasn't a swing. Again, like if Sojourn comes around here, then maybe you can talk about it as a swing. Either she ends up here or she ends up like back here. But when she dives here, you're very quickly coming back to a point where you're just fighting in a corridor. I'm not really sure. I can understand it that you want to like have like a soft engage and like start the fight. I can understand that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they.
My ultimate is charging.
I don't know what they saw. I don't know what they. You know, what are they looking for? What were we saying then? When you say 50-50, you mean a mechanical outplay gamble? Yeah, basically. Like you're taking an engage that you don't have sufficient information on, or you don't have a sufficient advantage in, to say like realistically you should win that, you know? Whereas like usually we want to be in these situations where if we push in and we still lose, it's very obvious that we've made a mistake. It's very obvious that like we've missed a shot, or we had a bad piece of information, or whatever. Like we should be fairly confident that when we push in, like we're winning. Yeah, at least if we're committing. If we're doing what this Malga's doing, he's kind of stamping on them, they're running back and they're resetting. That's different. But it's like if we're going in and we're using all our Reaper cooldowns to the point where we die, that is a commitment, right? That's a fight we're actually committing to. So. What's he saying? The Sig has a chance to fuck up the setup if he does any damage to the backline. They can't afford to sit about. Yeah, but if you're gonna do this, it's like you can stage for it. It's like one of the easiest maps to stage for, because like you got a lot of spots you can hide the Reaper, and like you got a lot of angles that Sojourn can hit on. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they saw that made them want to go for this. Like, I would understand this if Reaper was closer. Maybe. It's like he's got to use his TP to get in. There's no reason not to make this team swing before this happens, right? This is the other thing we're talking about with the swing, yeah? So it's like... partly because they're the attacking team, and also because they are trying to win fights through spam. Well, they're trying to get an advantage through spam. Blue team is forced to swing, right? They're forced to swing around corners. They're forced to come around to try and do damage. We have a lot of options here. We have a lot of options for cover, yeah? Again, like it's kind of when we're playing on point in the previous fight, you know, we're drawing these players in because what's the name? Sojourn wants an angle on the fight. Sim wants to come in and do some damage, yeah? Like Lucy wants to come forward, do some stuff as well. Like we're drawing these players in, we're making them swing, and it's like there's this kind of fine line where, you know, as they're swinging around the corner, where it's not that clear, you know, because you got Reaper TPs, you got like the mechanical I don't know, 50, not 50-50, but you got the like the mechanical option of like Sojourn hitting like a rail shot, and then you've also got like the like Malga with the potential to hit like the slam and the stun. You have this point where it's not that clear whether they've like committed yet, and like that's what you want. You want to draw them into that area because that's where you have the chance to go for one of these types of engages. If you're doing it over here, and again, like maybe they were just going for like a short engage, try and force an ult, and then reset and take another fight on point. If they were trying to do that, fair enough. Maybe it's just Alpha E that gets stuck in a bad place. But you're trying to make them swing. You've got to make them swing, yeah. And to be honest, I think Malga's at so much risk of getting hit by the Sig Rock when you go for these short engages. You need some sort of angle if you're going to go for it, yeah. See, Kevza hasn't really swung. He has taken a headshot from Finn, I assume. That's how he got tagged. But he's not really swung around the corner because he can still very easily get out. Like he's not really going to have to commit much to get out. Yeah. If you can find a way to bait them in a little bit longer, or at the very least have one of these DPS in a position where they can trade. Yeah. Again, if Sojourn's like close, or the Reaper's close, or the Reaper's like down here, we can trade on this. It's a tradable position. Yeah. These are not tradable positions because we're so far back. Like if a fight happens here, and the enemy team, all 5 of them, put 100% of their attention in the Mauga, yeah, when the Mauga jumps in, we don't have any players that are ready to take advantage of that. Again, that's the only real thing that we can play around. Like Reaper does TP, Sick hits the rock, Zuzu's out. I suppose because we've got the it's criminal Alfie doesn't get out actually, because it's not like the worst engage. It's not the best, but it's not like he repicks right. Yeah. Yeah, he can't be stopped, but it's like it's in that second afterwards where he's like in, and when he needs to self heal, if he gets rocked in that, it's like I don't know, you're chunking him out. I can only assume that these players who I guess speak better English than Finn and Alfie wanted to go for like a short engage, soft engage, and then come back and have another fight when these guys were following through into that open position. And then they just mess it up. I'm not sure. Okay. We'll look at a couple more. I don't want to talk too much unless there's like something I actually want to talk about. And most of the stuff I wanted to talk about was trying to understand those Korean games.
This ends.
Okay, so what are we doing? What are we doing? So this is good, I think. We'll have to see what happens. But this idea that we are drawing the enemy team in, and again, we are turning, like, versus a sim team, this position that Sojourn's playing at the moment isn't really a swing, versus a normal team, sorry. Because if we're playing over here, and as long as you haven't got control of this area, which is still red team, the area that Sojourn's playing is not a swing. It's not a commitment. It's not something that we could engage on. When we have a sim TP, and especially when we have sim ult, it's very different. Because we can TP and we can play wherever the hell we want, because we drop a big sim ult level point. Yeah. So this is fine. Like, even though we are controlling point, we can afford to back up, force the enemy team to spread out, force the enemy team to come into this open space, and then we turn that position into one of commitment. Yeah, because the Sojourn should get out maybe. If she's quick, we probably want to see her do something like this. Where's the Lucio? Calyx is up here as well. Yeah. We probably want to see her do something like this, and then we'll see what happens after that. But that's not like the worst way to open a fight. Yeah, cool. We sound barrier as well. Or instead of the sim wall. We get the sound barrier in time. I don't know. I hate these fights. You know, trading ults. I think the mistake is probably if they trade out. Yeah, you probably still win. Oh, heartbreaking. I'd probably like to see them use the symbol first. Maybe they're so afraid of the Mauga stomp. It's tough in these situations when you're doing this because you still only have the TP. Like typically when you're doing this type of thing, you'd want to leave, you'd want to like drop someone in rotation on some sort of angle. So that when you do go for the TP, you've already got someone. Also, when you do go for your play, you've already got someone. But because you're playing the sim, there's not really anyone you can leave. Kind of tough. But I'd probably like to see the wall come out first. We still use it. I guess it's not the worst thing to use in a overall. That's what I mean. It's like I wouldn't necessarily call this a 50-50. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like we're not really doing much apart from TVing on someone. You know what I mean? It's like we're not really doing anything. It's just we're just TPing. It's not like we are kind of forcing them to split, but we're not. I don't know. Like, okay, great. 5 players over here, now 5 players over here. Like, we're in a better position, but we're in a better position because they just forced us out, and now we're playing at the back. And like, okay, we can trade our Sim TP for the Sojourn Shift, which isn't like the worst trade. But now we're still clumped up as 5. I assume Kev just stays on his angle, and like must do quite a lot of work on that angle. But I think Finn's probably made a mistake here. Nah. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Popping in, what are the general thoughts of the match? I don't know. This is a different one. I was looking at the Korean one, and then everyone told me they weren't taking it seriously. I was horrified. They're my thoughts. I wasn't impressed. I'm gonna skip this map. I don't like it. I want to see Alpha you feeding on them. So watch this live. Lots of reactivity here. Oh, I missed first fight. Okay. Same thing with the Maugas. Again, it's like if you can find a way to not get bottled up too much. You're okay. Not too sure on the Vendetta of the Reaper. I feel like you get a little bit more option with the Reaper. Just because these guys have so much potential to relocate. Like, I feel like the Reaper you get a little bit more out of. This is what I mean. This is kind of what I mean by 50-50s, right? This is like kind of what I'm talking about. Because you have these two players just playing a different angle, and they're just looking for a target that pops up. And then you have these players, and it's like you have this kid screaming outside. I hope they're not too loud. And then you have this situation where it's like, okay, great. You have this opening trade where Mauga charges in. Iri is forced to Suzu the charge, otherwise her whole team's on fire, and they could get stamped on. Right. And then we put down this TP, we were kind of knocked away from it. And then at this point, it's just like, who hits the shot? You know what I mean? It's like, just who hits it? Like, does Landon hit it? Does Finn hit it? You know, does Kellex get a nice boot? And it's like, assume Psycho gets caught. Yeah. As Kellex gets a boop on Psycho and he gets caught. And it's like, okay, yes. Somewhat interesting, but it's not like, it's kind of just percentage plays, right? It's just, and I'm just surprised that we don't see more setup. Because equally, Kellex could not have hit that boop, right? And then Psycho would be out. Or, Kevster wasn't really in a position to get that much damage there. But like, let's see, because it might be we're watching this, and he has a chance to hit a shot and he misses the shot. I don't know if he had damage out west on that. We got a railgun here. Like, he could hit that, right? He could hit it, but he doesn't. And it's just a percentage play. It's not like you've not earned that kill. Like you've hit the shot, but like you haven't really had to put in any work to earn that kill. Yes, okay, there's a TP. Yes, like to an extent, when we're looking at this, we're playing the slower comp. The enemy team want to commit fast. We know that they're going to be looking in this area. So if we do TP, there might be someone that we can catch, like this Sojourn, as she's walking to try and get damage. That's okay, but I don't know, for me that's not really enough. And I feel like SimTP is hiding a lot of issues with the way that the macro game is played at the moment, because you can turn so many of these situations where you might be at a disadvantage into a 50-50. And both teams can do it. Because it's not really a 50-50. But it's like it just means that we're very quickly going from a situation where teams are skirmishing in pre-fight. Let me draw actually, like as I normally do. So like where teams are kind of skirmishing in pre-fight, no one's really committing anything. And then without either team getting a clear advantage, like without either team really having a solution for a push, you just have one team which is kind of incentivized to play a bit quicker. One team pushes in, they trade out on that with a TP, and then it's just who knows what happens next, right? Like, do we look through every player's POV and look at Calyx hitting that boop? Do we look at Alpha E and see whether he hits his swings? Do we look at Finn and see whether he misses his shots? Because he had a lot of options there. He probably fired 3 or 4 kunai, right? 2 headshots as a kill. And then Kev's obviously gets this option to get this headshot on. Was it Lambda? His name is right. So like, there's not for the way I look at the game, there's not a tremendous amount to speak about in these types of fights. I think SimTP really hides a lot of issues like that, man. Like, I want to see Finn's POV actually. That's what I mean. Like, he's got players in front of him. Like, he doesn't hit anything. But like there are players who have hit those shots in those situations, right? And again, it's like also looking at Kev's chance to hit Lambda. Stuff like that happens a lot, and it's, for me at least, it's not particularly interesting to watch, and it's, you know, not particularly interesting to talk about. Like, not every fight is going to be a mirror on a symmetrical map, but okay, they swap with Sim. Okay, sweet. Like, when SimTP is actually used for rotations and actually used for baiting commitments and then trading out on it, that's alright. But I do feel like we get away with a lot, yeah. So this is quite interesting because we've got it's a risk sending Lucio this wide, yeah. Not too much of a risk, but obviously, and Lucio doesn't do a huge amount versus Vendetta. You can imagine if this is a Reaper, we might not see him doing this, because you kind of need that boop sometimes when they come in. This is good because we've got like again, local advantage over here. We can take a bit of space. What we'd expect now is, obviously these guys are playing the quicker comp anyway, so they want to go. But as soon as they get this information, as soon as Lambda sees that there's 2 players over here, we should be expecting more or less like an immediate trade main. Because again, if they wait a couple seconds longer, these players are going to be through, the LOS is going to be here, right? So again, this is kind of what we think about the swing. This is a swing. Yes, they haven't got LOS on these players yet, but the proximity, or lack of, between them and their team makes it a swing. And when the enemy team swings, you have to commit. Whether it's diving these players, if they were swinging out high ground, probably wouldn't do anyway, or going after these players. Yeah. It's the same with Mauger as well, in terms of this like SimTP thing where it kind of hides a lot of sins, because it's like he's literally unstoppable during his charge. You cannot do anything to him. You can't damage him, well, you can damage him, but like you can't stun him. you're basically not going to get any damage done against him. It's so long, and the cooldown is so short that he can basically engage from anywhere, right? And it's like, okay, yes, he comes in, you use your wall. I don't know if you're trying to block him. I assume it's best if you do block him. And then it just becomes this, and then again, you're forced to trade that out for the Suzu. And then we just have players fighting. Yeah. I'd expect VP to win this stuff. That's quite a nice swing by Alpha E. I don't know. But again, like, is there much that's interesting to say about this? I don't know. How come you came back if you don't find 5v5 as compelling? I don't know. I've enjoyed playing a little bit of it. And it's because I'm looking for this stuff that we can talk about. Because part of me thinks that maybe teams are not seeing the options. Because you can get away with just being really good at getting trade kills. If you're really good at getting trade kills, like if you're Sojourn in a fight where you're down 3v5 and shift up in the sky and hit a railgun, you'll be a good team, right? If your carry can get exit frags, you'll be a good team. If your tank can do a lot of pressure and stay alive for a long time in like a 1v5, you'll be a good team. You know, it's like if you're good at getting trade kills in devolved fights, just like scrappy end of fight stuff, you can be pretty great at the game. And there are a lot of teams, a lot of pro teams, that's basically the only thing that they're good at. And when we have comps like the Mauga comp, or we have comps like Sim, yeah, you can kind of boost the potential of those teams, because you can make these engagers that are more or less, they're not 50-50s, but like, even if you have like the most cerebral team in the world, if they're playing against a team that's just 5v5 rushing them at Sim every fight, yeah, okay, you can deal with it if you know it's just coming straight on. But like there are a lot of ways to make 5v5 scrappy that there weren't in 6v6, you know. Unfortunately, there's nothing else like this game, and I do like it a lot. And sometimes some comps you do see really entertaining matches. Just I just like to see a little bit more. Why Finn's TPing here? I'm not sure. Was he pressured by? What's his name? Kester? Yeah. Okay. Pretty poor from him. Pretty poor. Very poor, actually. Like, you know that Lambda's lost this flank already. Like, where else is Kevster gonna be? Like, he's not gonna. This is the only place he can be. He's not gonna come back around to his team. Like, so why are you pathing out in the open 3-point? You know they've got Mei. You know your Mauga's gonna be walled. The only thing that really you should be thinking about doing is you know your Mauga's gonna be alive for at least like 2-3 seconds behind this wall anyway, because he's so tanky and he's got a self heal. Like, and also they have Mei, so it's not like they have stupid amounts of burst damage they can put on him. So like, why are you passing through the open when you know your Sojourn's already lost that angle? Surely you could just play here and break this wall with Alpha Yi, and then if you need to snipe a Suzu through the wall to get the Mauga, you can do it. I mean, he's first death too. It's like that you could almost say they lose this fight, because has he popped his thing already? I don't even know if it was necessary. Terrible pathing. Terrible pathing. Oh, it gets eaten too. Hideous performance. Really bad. Really fucking bad. But like, yeah, I don't know. But you can talk about predicting moments like that as a player, but there's a lot less of the there's a lot less of this kind of, you know, pathing, tempo, understanding that I've seen from players like this, or I've seen from like these finals and stuff I've been watching. Really odd. So we can analyze the game. We can find ways to improve. Again, what I would say Oh, he kind of gets just pushed out. Anyway, it's surprising he gets out there too. I know Lambda's been tagged, but like, you can't be pathing like this, and you definitely can't just be TPing in and getting your Suzu eaten, because when it's unnecessary. Break the goddamn wall with your Vendetta. Your Mauga's going to be fine, and in fact, the lower your Mauga gets is almost the better, really. Like, because you want these players to be putting as much attention as possible into him, and the lower he is, the more attention they're going to want to put into him, right? So it's like, it's not even if you break the wall and he's got this much health, by the time you break the wall and you can get the Suzu through, that's better than, or it's a lot better than TPing in and getting eaten by Sig. But that's not bad, you know. Like, squeezing it out for as long as possible isn't a bad thing. Like, if you want to get really into it, you could say, like, by the time you get to that point, you know, maybe this May's got to reload, or the Lucer's got to reload, you know. It's, you know, it's like you are trying to drag this out. There is no pressure to TP onto him and drop a Suzu on him. The only pressure you're experiencing is because you've opened yourself up to this angle that you knew you'd lost anyway. Because the reason you were walking over point was to heal the guy that had been pushed out on that angle. Really odd, really odd. Yeah, so basically, red team doesn't get a Suzu. Mauga never recovers enough health to disengage. You can imagine at this point, right? You can imagine at this point here, Mauga would be full health. Finn would be here, alive. Don't know where Lambda is, let's say he's still there. We're now in a much better position, you know? Like, Finn shouldn't be dying here. Mauga shouldn't be dying here. None of these players should be dying here. Where's Alfie? Where is he? Oh, he's right in the middle. Alfie's doing fine. We should be fine. We should be absolutely fine. And like, these players are forced, like Calyx as well, he's forced to like commit to try and go for a trade because he sees it's a losing fight. But there's also no reason that Calyx like should feel the freedom even to just stay on this corner and heal his Sojourn, and then maybe help her retake the angle in a minute. As I say a minute, I mean a couple of seconds when she gets the shift back up. She might even have it, but if she was full health, she could be up here. Alfie is on this corner, Finn's still here alive. Mauga's doing whatever the hell he wants because the enemy team can't kill him. Yeah? Like, it doesn't have to be such a bad engage. But taking these engages, which are, from a macro perspective, not too far off being 50-50s, and then having to dig into each player's POV just to work out, like, who fucked up, is very... I think we can do better, you know? I think we can do better. I think we can build a better kind of vocabulary to look at these types of fights, you know? Wait, sorry, I need to read some of this. Most teams don't even get to the point where these things matter. They just win by playing. Yeah, exactly. They win just by shooting, you know, and they win by just like they win by just shooting, right? Like, very quickly you get to the point where teams don't have a cooldown. Or like where standing main shooting each other, very quickly you get to a point where one team just doesn't have the cooldowns, and then you just beat them. And I think that's such a risky proposal to do that in pro games, because there's so many, I forgot what the right word for it is. There's so many like unknowns, where it's not clear. It's not clear if you're in a winning position. It's not clear if 300 damage isn't gonna just fly out of nowhere and hit your tank. That like a lot of teams are quite happy to take these risks. They're quite happy just to charge in as Mauga and set up a fight. They're quite happy just to TP onto an enemy team, right? Yeah, we'll see. The opening skirmish phase, no one's committed anything. It's difficult watching like the Mauga Sig matchup because again, it's just like what's the game plan coming in through here? We're just gonna come around, pop an ult, ape onto him. Yeah, don't know. We'll see. Are they playing for a disengage? It's fine. VP, I've been relatively impressed by VP. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We like that. So let's just look at spacing, yeah? Because one of the best things VP do here is no one's getting caught in these engages. And if someone's getting caught, per commitment from the enemy team, it's only like one person, right? Like, Ice is on like a nice close angle. The Mei Wolves used to allow him to like hold that angle versus the Mauga pin. We blocked that. Then he passed back, doing a nice bit of damage. We have the second engage coming through here. It's crazy this guy's got like a 5-second cooldown on the charge. So he's through. We've lost control of that right side. It's not the end of the world. Fix has managed to just get away from it. We've dodged that engage. And again, it's like, because we haven't forced anything. This is from the perspective of red team we're talking about here. We've forced nothing. Like, we really haven't forced anything. So it's like an engage. Like this, it's not... Because of the strength of certain cooldowns, it might work. Yeah. But it's like, we haven't forced anything, so why would we expect it to succeed? Like, this one's okay, because, you know, it's like, we're just taking like a short push. I'm assuming... So, like, Ice as well has got like the jump. Double jump? Or the float or whatever. So you see the way... he gets blocked actually. But like, he can like jump up and dodge like the slam, right? And then the second one, we still haven't forced anything. Because yes, okay, we are all playing in a line. But we still have our Sojourn slide. We still have our Kiri TP. So what are we expecting this engage to do? Very nicely caught. Very nicely caught. Catch Psycho. Put the mail up for it. I don't know, this is just...
This ends now.
That's what I mean, and it's like, okay, do we want to spend 20 minutes looking at every player's POV and working out like who won the fight? I don't know. Not really. I feel like VP opened that like decently well. I'd preferred it if they were able to maintain threat of a trade. I'm getting a little bit distracted now because I've been talking for too long. Actually, maybe this is a good fight to talk about. Because on the surface it looks like VP are just running in with 5 ults, which they are, right? But also, not VP, sorry, GK are running in with 5 ults, which they are. But VP are also in the same position. So instead we want to look at whether or not VP, as the defending team, were able to maintain their threat of a trade. And I don't know if they were. Because Kevster's... It's difficult for him. It's very difficult for him. Because he's playing versus Alpha Yi. But I would prefer to see... Can he play here? I'd prefer to see... Fixer and Kevster kind of playing around. Maybe he's playing close because he wants to build beat. I'd prefer to see them kind of playing around, maintaining some sort of angle, maintaining some sort of threat of a trade. If Kevster's still in this area, it's very difficult for the team to push across. Alpha is obviously keeping an eye on him. Because if Alpha is like here on the low ground and Kevster's up here, like by the screen, Alpha has that threat of coming in. But if Fixer's playing with him, maybe we're okay. We are relatively lucky that we get away from this. Not like obviously we have cooldowns for it, but again we got to ask the question. Like, yes, okay, they have a sound barrier, so they're happy just to follow through. But like, the only person maintaining threat of a trade here is Ice. And if he doesn't hit the sigil, I think you're in a very awkward position. Really awkward, actually. And like, yes, we're able to kite like way out.
This ends.
We're able to kite like way out, but oh, Oof. Fucking hell. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I think I'd prefer to see these guys playing around maintaining threat of a trade. Because again, it's like if you're not, like, you do end up in a position where you're all in a line. I don't know. I'm getting tired anyway. Let me read some more. I'm curious about what did you enjoy in analyzing, watching over the game? I enjoyed a lot of the overhead stuff. I enjoyed a lot of the mentality stuff. I enjoyed getting to the point where you can just based off the start of a fight, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. Just based off where the players are and like their ult percentage. You could basically write a script of how the fight's going to go. I think it's possible to do that in this game. I think it's possible that we can do that. But I think the way that a lot of teams are playing at the moment is it's based on situations like this, you know, where it's like you haven't got the depth of resources to be able to like play around this like second cycle. You have to dump everything straight away, and then it's just kind of like who trades out better. And yes, you can look at every person's POV. Like, okay, maybe Fixer had an option to get a boop onto Alpha Yi. I'm not sure, right? But like, do we want all our fights to be decided by shit like that? Or do we want a team Good. God, that's a long cooldown, eh? No, I think it's fucked. Oh yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm very tired at this point. What's my coaching career look like? I pissed about really. I didn't do anything too serious. I did a lot of Australian contenders. I couldn't really put the time in to do like EU or NA, and I wasn't, maybe foolishly, wasn't really interested in the networking side of things. I got very close to coaching Toronto in the the first 5v5 season, but I lost out to No Hill. Is it No Hill? The Chinese fella, who, yeah, I don't know, yeah, and then after that, I needed to focus on my like real life stuff. I stopped for a bit. What else are you saying? Team, you're VOD reviewing now, so warmed up. You don't want to exhaust yourself too much. Yeah, again, it's like the only reason I'm watching this stuff is because we're trying to pinpoint the vocabulary of how to describe fights, and we're trying to work out the threads that are keeping these teams together. And it's like, this is interesting because we're actually staging for the enemy team when they come out of spawn. So it's like we're staged on something. But like, again, we have cooldowns, like, because of the strength of escape cooldowns and the strength of stuff like Suzu. Can you tell? Can anyone tell from this point who's going to win the fight? Can we say like this team's going to win the fight? I don't think we can. We don't know. Who's going to win this fight? Like, we're at the point where teams are committed, right? And like, again, to understand whether or not a player's committed, this player's committed, Malgus committed because he's charging and he's using his cooldown. Alfie's committed because he's on a wide angle. I mean, he can't stay here. You know, he's not going to leave. He's committed, right? Because if the enemy team focus him, he's not in a tradable position. Yeah, if all these players jumped onto Ziad now, obviously because these players are here, it kind of is tradable. But like, it's not really like a tradable position. A tradable position for him would be like a little bit further out. If the enemy team all went straight onto him, and you're in a default setup, then you got a chance of dealing with it. Alfie is not in a tradable position. Lander's not in a tradable position because he's so far. We're committed. Like, red team is committed, and because they're committed, blue team's going to have to commit as well. But we still don't know who's going to win the fight, and like, this is wrong. Like, we should be able to tell at this point. We should know who's going to win the fight. And if we don't know who's going to win the fight, that's a problem, right? I couldn't tell you. I've got absolutely no idea who's going to win the fight. Which team would I rather be on at this point? I would rather be red team, I think. But I can't tell you because it's like, is Ziad going to hit a slam? I don't know, right? Is Lambda going to get around and hit a rail shot? I don't know. Is Kellex going to come around at a good time and get a boop? I don't know, right? I don't know these things. We can't know these things. But we should be able to tell at this point. By the time players all commit, we should know who is very likely to win the fight, right? And I literally, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you. He misses his slam, but Ice misses his rock. Land's been pushed out. Red team lose, probably. So they do get Landon. We miss. Oh, that's a bad overhead to miss. We still get a kill. I think red team win. Very nice. But again, it's like, could we say for sure that they're winning here? No. If we're talking about this from blue team's perspective, if we're talking about this from blue team's perspective, I would like to see a call to flip. They haven't got all the information. I think they know that Lambda's over here. Obviously they go back and they reset. I think it's just this TP from Landon that seals it. Yeah. Because it's good moves from Fixer and Kevster to jump on that jump on Lander's angle, which is what you want to do when the enemy team takes splits like this. Again, like we're talking about, this is a swing. This is like a major swing, right? Either we're going for the team or we're going for the person who's swinging. A lot of the time it's the person who's swinging because they put on so much threat from that angle they're swinging on that you have to deal with them. But like, this is pretty good from them. I think it's just an unlucky TP. Just very unlucky TP. Landon doesn't get caught here if he stays alive and can. You'd probably like to see him run out the wall or something to dodge it instead. I don't know. And then he can TP to Kevster, Fixer, someone that's a little bit further out, or flip the map with Ice once he knows where the two enemy DPS are as well. Like once you know where Alpha E, Ziad, and Lambda are, you know that you can flip the map and you can play over here, right? So if he can stay alive till that point, doesn't have to use his TP, then he can reset. But again, it's a 50-50, no? It's just like, you know what I mean? You can reverse engineer, and this is the whole thing. Like a while ago, I used to talk about like critical moments, right? And if you don't know what went wrong, you can watch the fight and you can kind of work your way back, and you can say, this is kind of what we've done with Landon, right? Like Landon's first death, it's like an easy one to look at because like he shouldn't really be dying here. And then you work back and say why, and it's like we can say like, why did Landon feel this pressure? So here we are. So we see Mago point. Mago's charging in. So like, why does Landon feel this pressure to go for this TP?
I'm here. I can heal you.
Yeah, I don't know. And the only thing you can really say is the team failed to take the time and scout as they're walking in, right? If they'd taken a little bit more time scouting, and they maintained tradable positions as they're walking in, then you're okay. And maybe they just got like a little bit too sloppy because they knew that I think there was a player down. Oh no, they had a messy fight just before it. So as they come in here, they're not really maintaining tradable positions. Or at least Landon isn't. Very awkward actually that. Oh fucking hell. Very windy at the moment. I don't know. Yeah, critical moments. I love that. That was one of the first. The first time I tried like, well, not the first time. It was like one of the first times I tried to like. I don't know how useful it is, but if you find the right terminology for something, it can be. It can help. Anyway, I don't know how useful this is, and I don't want to keep talking if I haven't got something super useful to say. Okay, is this last fight? Almost. Okay, so alright, let's have a look. Let's have a look and see. Is this another 50-50 or are we actually maintaining threat of a trade? Kevster at the back, doing a bit of spam. Again, difficult to off-angle too much as Kevster because there's so much threat from Alpha Yi and there's so much threat from Auga. So you can't really play up here. You could try, but you can't really, you know, you're gonna get your shit forced quite quick. Oh! Jumping over the May wall. Alpha Yi's in. There's really much reason for him to be in. Alpha Yi's out. He's going for a second charge. Deeping through and resetting on them. I don't know, boys. It's just like... Oof. It's funny because we still got the goal on Kevster, and this is kind of what we're talking about, where like, if you're putting attention on someone, like concentrated attention, you cannot keep a player alive in 5v5. Yeah, like he's ulting from all the way back here, and he's got this whole team around him, and we still can't keep him alive. So the only thing you can do then is play a tradable position. And Kevster was in a tradable position. The rest of his team, I don't know, because you're quite boxed up, I don't know. Maybe, I guess. This team's able to trade out now, but there's not a huge amount that we can say. There's not a huge amount that we can say for these matches. It just doesn't feel as clinical as I'm used to. We'll watch this last fight, and then we'll stop. Like, what are we, like, we're just running in, no? Like, there's no staging, there's nothing. Are we forcing cooldowns? No. Everyone's just got everything. We use Maywall. Oh, he's charging, yeah. Like, we're not, nothing's happening. Check it out. He gets all the way in, he just jumps straight in. Oh! It's a big rock. Big rock on down for you. I don't know, it's just a... yeah. We'll see. There's a lot of POV stuff you can do. The only reason I really started streaming was because I wanted to talk about that first fight on circuit.
Ready for battle.
This is it. This is the whole. Watch this fight was the whole reason that I turned on the stream. Yeah. And we'll look at it one last time. And again, with this, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about threat of a trade. Yeah? We're trying to preserve threat of a trade. If we talk about this from the perspective of red team, the only thing stopping Bernard walking around this corner and killing us is threat of a trade. Yeah. And threat of a trade in this situation is we've got Hisang's potential to come around the corner and do damage. We've got Stalker's potential with his Sojourn E, and obviously his potential to do damage. We've got critically, we've got Max's. Wait, 2 secs. Someone's ringing me. And critically, we've got Max's rock, right? So it's if we're red team in this situation, we're playing. We're keeping in mind the only thing stopping blue team just running straight onto us is we have threat of a trade. As soon as we don't have threat of a trade, we're no longer holding this space, and blue team can just run straight into it, right? And like we're talking about this where Knife kind of does this little short swing on cart. He's not committed. He's just doing a bit of spam. For some reason, maybe it's because Bernard presses shift. But for some reason, we see this chance to go for this rock. And as soon as this rock's out, Bernard's laughing. Because he knows his shift's going to end in a second. He's going to get the overhealth from the shift. He knows that there is nothing stopping him walking in, right? There's absolutely nothing stopping him walking in. Because Max has no rock. Stalker has wasted his Sojourn E up on high ground. Hisang, no health, no conk blast, nothing hiding, right? The only player that has anything is Chorong, and Chorong decides, for whatever reason, not to run around and look for the binding chain to stop Bernard walking in. As soon as that rock comes out, Bernard's not afraid of anything. Yeah, he just walks straight in. Like obviously these players backing up, play around second corner, but we also got to think about as soon as Max has used his cooldown, we want to understand as the other players that he no longer has a threat of a trade. We can make up for that because if instead of where is it? Instead of just firing this high ground, right? We still have it now. When he uses this rock, we can deny this push. And the same goes for Hisang. Obviously, Hisang has to fight. I'm not saying that we're just waiting for our Sig to lose ground. But like, if Hisang is still in the fight, playing maybe a little bit more conservatively, or maybe Vigilante's like a little bit quicker with the healing, right? So Hisang can fight. And Hisang maybe is in a position to get his concussion blast on Bernard, as Bernard starts pushing in, right? Same goes for Chorong. If Chorong's not, if he's, he could easily be doing it here. He could be pressing shift here and looking around and looking for the route over here, right? Or he could be walking out and doing it this way. If he's not looking for this chance to recognize that Max no longer has threat of a trade, so the enemy team can push in, then I don't know. There's no other way to play the game. There's definitely no other way to play these types of fights where you're fighting in a straight line, yeah. Because it's like because of the comp and because of the map, we can't do. We're not seeing those like 50-50s where we're just TPing on someone and engaging. Like we're actually seeing players forced to play around what little cooldowns that we actually have available in 5v5. And it just seems like they've got no idea what to do with them. I don't know. Anyway, that was the whole reason I was talking about. I was streaming today. But thank you anyone who's listened in. I'm very out of practice. But I just wanted to do this before they delete the replay codes, which will probably be in about an hour. Good luck with your VOD review. And yeah. When we're thinking about tradable positions, like I haven't really seen a map there's not really a situation that's that great for it. I guess this one's fine. It's like if Max is here with Rock and Stalker's maybe a little bit wider, and Hisang's up close, and again Chorong's here like ready to trade, like they're in tradable positions, you know. If the enemy team try and push past, you're ready to trade. You know, it's a lot easier if we're talking about monkeys and tracers and reapers because they're very, very obvious the way those heroes trade because they do it positionally, right? But you can still talk about it with heroes like this. It's just a lot more cooldown based. Because again, it's threat of a trade both in terms of if the enemy push past you, are you able to disrupt guys pushing? Are you able to disrupt the backline? And also a threat of a trade in terms of if the enemy team goes straight onto you, are you going to be able to keep yourself alive long enough for the rest of the team to do something? If you're not able to keep yourself alive long enough for the rest of the team to do something, and you're not able to, if the enemy team don't go for you, you're not able to, go for their backline or go for their divers, then it's a terrible position because you have no threat of a trade. And in this kind of pre-fight situation, we're finding these positions where we have threat of a trade, and we're using them to skirmish and poke and prod and try and kill the enemy team without overcommitting ourselves. Yeah. And as soon as we break some shields or we force a sojourn shift, we can play a little bit more aggressive because the enemy team's threat of a trade has diminished. So where we were playing before, that was our safe distance, is now extended because the enemy team are not in a position to punish that. Whereas before, if they still had full cooldowns, they could have punished us over here. Now we can go over here before they can punish us, right? And that's the way that we've got to think about these skirmishes. Take a tradable position at the start of the fight, force some shit, force some health pools, force some cooldowns, and then keep leapfrogging forward until you're basically just defeating them by shooting them. And you do this with any comp. Doesn't matter if you're playing full dive or whether you're playing poke. Yeah, you're doing this with every comp. You just do it in slightly different ways. Usually the fight will never get to that point. But in Matchmaker it does. Where you just kind of keep shooting them, keep walking in. Usually one team will recognize that they're in this losing position where the enemy team has the advantage. And then they'll go for one of those basically 50-50 plays, right? And you're just kind of gambling that you haven't delayed that 50-50 play long enough that you don't have the cooldowns to make it work. And then similarly, you're gambling on the team that's slowly swinging wider and wider and wider, that you've forced enough cooldowns that you're able to catch and defeat that kind of 50-50 play. But that's most fights kind of follow that process. Anyway, thank you everyone. I'll see you guys around. Do stream more? Maybe, we'll see. I think if I do it again, I won't do it like fully unscripted. I'll have a look at some fights and I'll know what I want to say first. Because otherwise I end up just talking for too long. Anyway, alright.